Have you ever wondered why, even surrounded by so many things, we still feel like something essential is missing? Perhaps it's because what truly matters cannot be bought. In a world obsessed with material achievements, the Stoics challenge us to see beyond the obvious. They show us that the most precious gifts are those that don't fit in boxes: time, wisdom, emotional support. And this isn't just abstract philosophy. It's a practical truth that can transform how you live and connect with those around you. After all, what's the point of accumulating possessions if what you really need is inner harmony? How many times have you felt gratitude for something no one could give you in exchange for money? A piece of advice at the right moment, a gesture of compassion, an example that changed your perspective. The Stoics called this living in accordance with reason, and I call it discovering what truly matters. But here's the question: why, even knowing this, do we continue chasing illusions? Is it because we've never learned to value what we cannot see? Or perhaps because no one taught us how to turn these lessons into practical actions? Whatever the reason, you're about to change that. Because right now, you're going to discover the secrets that the Stoics mastered to live with purpose, serenity, and an impact that transcends time. What if I told you there is a way to apply all of this in your life starting now? A way to overcome anxieties, transform uncertainties, and finally build a Stoic mindset focused on what truly matters. Stay with me, because the answer to this might be closer than you think. Have you ever stopped to consider the value of time? Maybe you've never realized it, but time is, by far, the most precious gift we have to offer. The Stoics, masters of practical philosophy, viewed time as something irreversible, a true currency of life. It's curious to think that while many people worry about material goods or status, time keeps ticking away, indifferent to any attempts at control. Imagine the lasting impact of dedicating your time to a sincere conversation, a selfless gesture, or simply being present for someone in need. This is what the Stoics meant when they emphasized universal harmony. The act of giving your time reflects virtue, compassion, and a nearly sublime sense of justice. If we look at our daily lives, how have you been using your time? There's a huge difference between spending it on social media, aimlessly scrolling, and using it to build meaningful connections. When you offer your genuine attention, you're giving an intangible gift that has no price. Imagine, for example, calling that friend who has always supported you emotionally, or taking the time to listen to your child talk about a subject that is extremely important to them. This is living in accordance with what the Stoics called reason. Devoting time to others is also a way to demonstrate gratitude. Have you thought about the impact you can have on someone by giving them a piece of your day? We're so used to physical gifts that we forget the value of the intangible. Stoic wisdom reminds us that the time given, no matter how simple it seems, carries with it virtues like altruism and compassion. It's not about being available all the time, but about prioritizing what truly matters. After all, every second that passes never comes back. And what about you? Have you felt that your routine is draining more than it's delivering value? Perhaps it's time to rethink your priorities. Consider your daily interactions. Are you really present or just going through the motions? The Stoics would say that being present is, in itself, an act of virtue, and this presence doesn't need to be grand. It can be as simple as putting your phone away during a family dinner or offering a genuine smile to a stranger. Small gestures that create lasting impact. The most fascinating thing is that when we invest our time in something meaningful, it multiplies in the form of memories, connections, and even learning. Have you noticed how a well-spent afternoon with a loved one can stay alive in your mind for years? That's the power of time wisely invested. The Stoics understood this deeply and encourage us to live each moment with intention, transforming even the simplest into opportunities to practice virtues like gratitude and justice. Be honest with yourself. How much of your time has been wasted on trivialities? It's not about abolishing leisure, but finding balance. The Stoics weren't against rest. They believed in the necessity of using it to renew the mind and spirit. So consider incorporating moments of introspection or reading that nourish your wisdom and inner tranquility. Books like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius can be a great starting point for those looking to learn how to value time in a Stoic and practical way. As you begin to understand the value of time, you'll notice that every second spent with intention becomes an intangible gift, both for you and for those around you. But there's another gift that the Stoics considered equally valuable, and that is deeply connected to the theme of time. Emotional support. A gesture that may seem simple but carries transformative power. Want to know how? Let's explore that now. Imagine yourself in a moment of difficulty. It's not money or an expensive gift you seek, but someone who can listen, understand, and embrace you. That's the power of emotional support, one of the most valuable yet often underestimated gifts we can offer. For the Stoics, the simple act of being there for someone in times of need is a pure manifestation of virtue. It's not about solving all of their problems, but about being present, offering compassion and a word of encouragement. That, in itself, reflects practical wisdom and genuine justice, central values of Stoic philosophy. If you think emotional support is something reserved for therapists or gurus, you're mistaken. It can be as simple as asking a friend how they are and really listening to the answer. No judgments, no rush. The Stoics teach us that by doing this, we're not only helping the other person, but also strengthening our own resilience and understanding of life's interconnected nature. After all, who hasn't found clarity while giving advice to someone in need? It's interesting to note that when we offer emotional support, we often end up receiving even more in return. It may seem counterintuitive, but the practice of empathy connects us to something greater, promoting the universal harmony that the Stoics valued so much. Think of something practical. The next time you notice someone around you is overwhelmed, try being a shoulder to lean on. You don't need to offer miraculous solutions. Sometimes a phrase like, "I'm here for you," is enough to turn a bad day into a bearable one. The Stoics believed in the importance of strengthening community, and emotional support is one of the pillars of that strength. When we help someone overcome their challenges, we contribute to the stability and harmony of the group as a whole. It's a quiet but powerful exchange. Want an example? Consider how a boss who emotionally supports their employees creates a work environment that is not only more productive, but also more humane. This is the kind of lasting impact that an intangible gesture can provide. And don't think that offering emotional support means carrying someone else's problems as if they were your own. The Stoics spoke of rational altruism, helping without losing yourself in the process. This means you can offer support without compromising your emotional balance. After all, how can you provide tranquility to someone if you don't have it within yourself? Therefore, balancing empathy with healthy boundaries is an essential practice. A simple exercise is to reflect on how you can be helpful while still taking care of yourself. The interesting thing is that by offering this kind of gift, you are, in fact, practicing a virtue essential for your own inner peace. The Stoics believe that our emotions are shaped by our perceptions and actions. Thus, by adopting a posture of support and compassion, you not only help those in need, but also become a more balanced and resilient person. It may seem contradictory, but by alleviating the burden of another, you also lighten your own. Emotionally supporting someone is more than just a gesture. It is a bond that strengthens human connections and keeps alive the essence of practical philosophy. And when we talk about virtue, the Stoics show us that there is an even more active expression of this concept: good deeds. But how do we turn theory into practice and act justly in our day-to-day lives? That's what we will explore next. What defines a good deed? Is it merely a grand gesture recognized by all? Or can it be something simple that happens away from the limelight? For the Stoics, there was no doubt. A good deed is any act that aligns with virtue and a sense of justice. They believed that acting rightly was not just a choice, but a natural duty, something that springs from our connection to the community and the universal harmony. There's no need to wait for a grand opportunity to do good. The lasting impact of small gestures can be as powerful as a large donation. Imagine walking down the street and seeing someone drop their belongings. Do you help? For the Stoics, the answer is clear: yes. Not because you expect something in return, but because it is the right thing to do. Good deeds, in their view, are concrete practices of justice in our everyday lives. When we help others without ulterior motives, we fulfill our role in the interconnected nature of life. Want another example? Offering guidance to someone who is lost, whether literally or figuratively, is a way to share wisdom and compassion. And it's not just about visible acts. Good deeds can also be quiet but equally transformative. Think of the person who dedicates their time to caring for an elderly relative without fanfare, or the teacher who goes beyond the prescribed curriculum to inspire their students. These are practical manifestations of what the Stoics called living in harmony with virtue. After all, it's not external recognition that defines justice, but the intention behind the act. One of the greatest lessons that this philosophy offers us is the idea of acting proactively. If you know something can be improved, why wait? Perhaps it's about helping that overwhelmed coworker or volunteering for a cause you believe in. The size of the action doesn't matter. What's important is that it aligns with a sense of moral duty. The Stoics believe that every small contribution is part of a greater whole, like pieces of a universal puzzle. And if you're thinking, "But I don't know where to start," rest assured that opportunities are everywhere. Doing a good deed can be as simple as donating clothes you no longer wear, sharing knowledge that helps someone grow, or even practicing a spontaneous act of kindness like buying a stranger's coffee. Small gestures that, when combined, foster a true chain of altruism and justice. The most fascinating thing is that by practicing good deeds, you also transform yourself. According to the Stoics, justice is not just a benefit for those who receive it, but for those who practice it. When we act justly, we cultivate inner tranquility and reinforce our own emotional resilience. It's a virtuous cycle. By helping others, we strengthen our connection to the world and find purpose in the simplicity of everyday gestures. And of course, we cannot forget that gratitude is a fundamental part of this equation. Recognizing and valuing the good deeds we receive teaches us to replicate them. But how did the Stoics view gratitude? And why is it so crucial for achieving true tranquility? Let's dive into this topic now. Gratitude. A simple word, but with a profound meaning. For the Stoics, gratitude was much more than a feeling. It was a daily practice, a way of looking at life with clarity and balance. They believed that the most valuable gifts are not those we can hold, but those we can feel. Gestures like wise advice, a moment of careful listening, or a hug in a time of pain are the true intangible gifts that deserve our appreciation. Have you ever stopped to think about how you express gratitude for these things? Often, we are so focused on material achievements that we forget to thank the simple actions that make our lives better. A neighbor holding the elevator door for you, a friend sending an unexpected message, or that coworker who helps you in a tight spot. These small actions carry what the Stoics would call essential virtues: justice, compassion, and rational altruism. Cultivating gratitude for them not only values others but also teaches us to look at life with more resilience and wisdom. Practicing gratitude is, in fact, a powerful mental exercise. Think of a difficult day you faced recently. Now try to list 3 things, not material, that you can be grateful for. Maybe it's someone who offered you emotional support, the smile of a stranger, or even the opportunity to learn something new. This simple and effective practice can change your perception of what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoics, did something similar in his journal, reflecting on the positive aspects of each day. Moreover, gratitude is not just about receiving. It's also about recognizing the lasting impact of our own actions. When we express gratitude for something someone has done for us, we strengthen the bond of universal harmony. It's the exchange that transcends the moment, creating a virtuous cycle of good deeds and mutual recognition. This is particularly evident in workplace relationships. When a leader demonstrates genuine gratitude, they not only motivate their team but also build an environment of community and altruism. The Stoics also remind us of the importance of expressing this gratitude. Feeling thankful is good, but saying it is even more powerful. How many times have you thought about thanking someone but let it slip? Try it today. Pick up the phone and send a message to that person who did something for you recently. Tell them how much it meant to you. This seemingly small gesture is an intangible gift that strengthens bonds and brings internal peace to both parties. Speaking of tranquility, the Stoics viewed gratitude as an essential tool for achieving inner peace. When we recognize the value of non-material gestures, we begin to detach from excessive desires and unnecessary worries. This practice teaches us to focus on what truly matters: the present moment, our connections, and the legacy we want to leave behind. But there's something even deeper: the resilience that arises from gratitude. By being thankful, we are not ignoring difficulties but acknowledging the strengths that help us overcome them. As the Stoics said, every challenge is an opportunity for growth. And how does this resilience help us provide emotional and moral support to others? Well, this brings us directly to the next point. Imagine you are facing a significant challenge. It could be a problem at work, financial difficulties, or even an emotional crisis. In that moment, what makes a difference is not the absence of problems, but your ability to face them with resilience. For the Stoics, resilience is not just a skill, it is an essential virtue. It allows us to navigate life's storms with inner tranquility and maintain focus on what truly matters. But how do we develop this resilience? More importantly, how can it transform into support for others? The Stoics believed that resilience is closely tied to our perspective on challenges. They said that it is not the events themselves that affect us, but the way we interpret them. So when we see an obstacle as a learning opportunity, we are practicing Stoicism at its core. You can do this too. Try reevaluating something that bothered you today. Was there a hidden lesson in there? Perhaps a test of patience? This type of mindset transforms difficulties into growth. However, resilience isn't something built in isolation. It strengthens through the connections we create and the mutual support we offer. When we help someone during a tough time, we're not just contributing to that person's well-being, but also reinforcing our own ability to face challenges. Think back to the last time you stood by a friend in need. How did that make you feel? That is the power of rational altruism, a Stoic principle that views support as a two-way street. And you don't have to wait for major crises to practice this. Simple gestures, like listening to someone without interrupting, offering a word of encouragement, or even sharing an inspiring text, can be effective ways to provide support. Want a practical example? The next time someone around you seems down, ask, "How can I help?" This phrase, although simple, carries transformative power. It opens the door to dialogue, compassion, and the building of a stronger community. The Stoics also emphasize that emotional and moral support is a way of giving back to the interconnected nature of life. When we help someone overcome an obstacle, we are, in fact, contributing to the balance of universal harmony. This isn't just philosophy, it's practice. Think about the lasting impact you can create by uplifting someone who, in turn, may help another in the future. It's a cascading effect of good deeds and virtue that transcends the present moment. On the flip side, it's important to remember that resilience doesn't mean ignoring our own needs. The Stoics teach us to find balance, helping others without neglecting ourselves. After all, what good is it to offer support if you are emotionally drained? So make sure to carve out time to recharge your own energies. Meditation, reading, or simply taking a walk outdoors can be valuable tools for maintaining your inner peace. An example? Read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius and see how he dealt with challenges while governing an empire. Just as resilience strengthens us, the support we offer helps create a fairer and more harmonious world. But how does all this connect to our role in nature? How can our gestures, even the simplest ones, contribute to something greater? This is one of the central reflections of the Stoics, and it's what we will explore in the next point. Have you ever stopped to think about your role within the grand scheme of life? For the Stoics, each of us is a unique piece of an interconnected system. Nature, as they perceived it, operates in perfect harmony, and our actions have the power to reinforce or disrupt that balance. Every gesture, no matter how small it seems, carries within it the potential to positively impact the community, the environment, and even the universe. And this begins with simple choices: how we treat the people around us, how we handle challenges, and how we decide to contribute to the collective well-being. When you help someone without expecting anything in return, you are promoting universal harmony. Consider the simple act of offering encouraging words to a friend who is feeling down. This gesture not only aids the other person, but also plants seeds of resilience, compassion, and gratitude within you. The Stoics believed that living in tune with human nature, which is essentially social, was one of the pillars of virtue. It's as if each action aligned with justice is a musical note that composes the symphony of the universe. And why is this so important? Because in a world that increasingly values individualism, reclaiming that connection to the whole reminds us that we are not alone. Imagine a day when you decide to let another driver pass in the chaotic traffic. It's a small, almost insignificant gesture, right? But think about the ripple effect. That person might arrive home calmer, treat their family better, and thus continue the cycle. This is the essence of what the Stoics referred to as lasting impact. The most interesting part is that by contributing to this harmony, you also transform yourself. The Stoics teach us that acts of kindness benefit not only the receiver, but also the giver. When you act with altruism, you reinforce your own virtues: justice, wisdom, and compassion. These actions connect us to what truly matters, helping us achieve inner tranquility. It's a virtuous cycle that benefits everyone. One example, getting involved in a volunteer project in your community. It doesn't matter how small your contribution is. What matters is the intention behind the act. But how do you maintain this practice in a world full of distractions and conflicts? The Stoic answer is simple. Start with yourself. Before seeking to change the world, align your own actions with your principles. Ask yourself questions like, does this decision promote harmony or chaos? Am I contributing or just reacting impulsively? These reflections help us act more wisely and realize that even the smallest choices can have a significant impact. Furthermore, the Stoics viewed universal harmony as a constant reminder that we all face challenges and that, deep down, we share the same needs and desires. They encourage us to see humanity as one big family, where our actions shape the collective well-being. Want a practical exercise? Take 5 minutes out of your day to think of a way to do something positive for someone, be it a coworker, a neighbor, or even a stranger. These small acts, when added together, create a wave of positive change. And so, when we live in tune with this idea of interconnectedness, we begin to understand the true meaning of legacy. Because, in the end, it's not just about what we do now, but what we leave for future generations. This is precisely the legacy that the Stoics saw as the immortality of impact. Have you thought about how you will be remembered? Not for the material possessions you accumulated, but for the impact your actions had on the lives of others. For the Stoics, true immortality is not in the length of our lives, but in the legacy we leave behind. Every act of kindness, every altruistic gesture, every word of wisdom has the potential to create a lasting impact, transcending generations and echoing far beyond our time. It's like planting a tree whose fruits you may never harvest, but which will nourish many others in the future. What does this mean in practice? Imagine a teacher who, in a moment of dedication, teaches something that transforms a student's perspective. That knowledge could guide the young person throughout their life, leading them to make choices that will also impact others. This is the type of legacy that the Stoics valued. Actions aligned with virtue that resonate like ripples in a calm lake. And you? Have you been wondering what type of impact your actions today might have tomorrow? This immortality of impact doesn't have to be something grand or public. Often it manifests in small gestures. A practical example: think of a piece of advice you gave someone that changed the course of their life. It might have been something seemingly simple, like encouraging a friend to pursue a job opportunity, but for them, it represented a new beginning. This is the kind of intangible gift that the Stoics considered invaluable because it is rooted in practical wisdom and rational altruism. And why does this matter? Because by focusing on the impact we can generate, we step out of the cycle of selfish concerns and begin to see the connection we have to the whole. The Stoics believed that living in harmony with nature means recognizing this interdependence. Every virtuous action is a reminder that we are part of something larger and that our choices shape the world around us. Think about it. By taking time to teach a skill or share knowledge, you are contributing to the construction of a collective legacy. The Stoics also remind us that in seeking a lasting impact, we should not get caught up in recognition. The value of a good deed lies in the intention, not the applause. Marcus Aurelius said we should act like bees, doing their work for the harmony of the whole, without seeking individual credit. It's a powerful lesson for today, where the worth of actions is often measured in likes or views. In Stoicism, what matters is substance, not appearance. If you want to start building a legacy, ask yourself, what values do I want my actions to reflect? What kind of example do I want to leave for others? It can begin with something simple, like dedicating time to mentor someone younger in their career, or sharing experiences that inspire resilience and wisdom. A single gesture may seem small, but its impact can be immeasurable. And it's at this point that the Stoics teach us the value of living with purpose. Because when our actions are guided by virtues like justice, compassion, and gratitude, we are in fact creating a life worth remembering. And you? Are you ready to transform your everyday gestures into seeds of eternal impact? The next step may be simpler than you think, and I have something that can help in this journey. We've reached a crucial point. What will you do with everything you've learned? Stoicism teaches us that knowing something isn't enough. The true power lies in acting. Reflect on the ideas we've discussed: the value of time, the impact of a gesture, universal harmony. All of this will only make sense if you decide to put it into practice. Even if you start with something small, what will your next step be? Dedicating a moment of your day to listen to someone in need? Reflecting on how your actions can create a lasting legacy? Perhaps you're now thinking, okay, but where do I start? That's a great question. Start where you are. Take a moment to connect with the present. Recognize the intangible gestures around you and look for ways to replicate them. Small changes in your routine can lead to incredible transformations. Remember, it's in the simplest moments that we find true wisdom. How can you apply this today in your life to create more inner tranquility and resilience? And if you feel you need more guidance, I've prepared something special for you. The ebook, Stoic Mindset, is a guide that connects the principles of Stoicism to your practical needs. It's not just a reading material, it's a tool for transformation. You will learn how to overcome daily anxieties, develop a resilient mindset, and above all, find purpose in every action. Imagine what you can achieve by focusing on what truly matters. Now it's your turn to take action. Are you ready to take control of your mind and your time? Don't let this opportunity slip away. Get the ebook Stoic Mindset and start applying this ancient wisdom today. The impact could be greater than you imagine. And of course, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This will ensure you continue receiving valuable teachings on Stoicism and how to apply it to modern life. Together, let's create a world where what truly matters is valued. I'm here to help you on this journey.